Welcome back to another CoH2 replay cast. This time we're going to have a 4v4 on Montage region, and it's going to be sent in by Fives, playing as the USF. Where the hell is he? Okay, North Spawn, playing as the USF. His allies are going to be L. Okay, playing as the Soviets. Another British, Denik, and another USF, Reki Anderson, 95. On the enemy team, we're going to have, oh boy, Jung-Yu? Jun Lee, or whatever. I'm just gonna call him John. And he's gonna be playing as Wehrmacht. Kings, playing as the OKW. And Troll Mode activated, playing as the OKW. Let's see if he actually activates the Troll Mode. Kings is actually sending in a Cube Wagon in the north, instead of in the south spawn that he's doing, rather that he's spawning in. And this is probably a pretty smart move because of actually trying to capture these points in the north is very important on this map, as I will talk about later. Lunikov is going to be playing as the Wehrmacht, being the last one of them. So let's talk about Montage region as a map. Obviously, the two fuel points in the north are pretty much the key to holding this map together. Obviously, the two munitions points in the center are nice to have, and the victory point in the south is nice to have. But the south, comparatively to the north, is much less important in terms of actual priority, because obviously two fuel points in the north plus one victory point, because the other victory point is a little bit too far away to capture, even if you're doing really well. Probably it depends. Sometimes you can actually capture it with like a random harassing unit, but not really in any way that you can hold it. So one victory point and two fuel points in the north, two munitions and two VPs in the center, comparatively to the south where there's only one VP. You can pretty clearly see the picture that it is not exactly important to capture the south comparatively to the other spawns. So a mistake that a lot of people do on this map is just focusing too hard on the south or the center. Especially the north, you need to focus on the north. And right now, the Axis have complete control of the north. We have a bit of an engagement over here between L's conscripts and some Grenadiers from Lunikov. However, he's going to have to retreat right now because of these Folks Grenadiers. Control mode activated, actually almost sniping off all of the members of his conscript squad. In fact, he was very lucky over here, Lunikov, that Folks Grenadier was there, because honestly his Grenadiers were about to die and he wasn't exactly paying attention. Now, we have a bit of a fight over here. The Storm Pioneers will get into the Watchtower, which is going to be not exactly that useful. The Watchtower only has one window per obviously side that it can shoot out of, but still with the Storm Pioneers being so very effective at close range, it is obviously not as bad. Now in the center we see that Denik has been pushing up with the Advanced Emplacement Regiment, actually. So if he can push up and secure a pretty large area in the center, he's going to be able to emplacement that shit up and be very effective as a sort of a block that can stop the Germans dead in their tracks in the center. In the south we have Reki. And Reki is having trouble against over here John, because John has been able to fortify the area with machine guns, and he's also getting out a mortar. The mortar is a good decision on this map. There's a lot of obviously choke points that machine guns tend to roll, so there's a lot of non-action where the mortar can do a lot of damage to the opposing support weapons. We also see that Reki Anderson has gone for that mortar himself, obviously the USF mortar being very, very scary, and he's going to send that to the center where Kings actually has some Folks Grenadiers, and they're going to get hit. Also because of the Universal Carrier with the Flamethrower Wasp upgrade, he's going to have to retreat pretty quickly. So the Allies making a good push in the center. We see that Reki Anderson is pushing up in the north and actually getting the cutoff point off the just off the nose of the Germans. That's really good move from Reki Anderson, seeing that he's a little bit outmatched in the south and moving his rear echelons, his least valuable unit, in the north to do some damage. And in fact, this is a lot of damage that he's doing to the Germans, a lot of damage proportionally to the unit that he's using. Right now, Fives is really not doing much, unfortunately. He's definitely securing this strategic point, but there's really no point in just defending the strategic point so hard. He could just leave his mortar around here and then use his riflemen as a mobile unit, trying to see, probing the lines of the Germans if they have defenses or if they are completely unready for his pushes. Of course, we do see that there is a machine gun in the huge building over here, and obviously that's going to be decent for protecting this sort of square area, but it's not going to be good at protecting the fuel points, because the fuel points have these walls over here that obviously make it impossible for the machine gun from here to shoot over there. And they would obviously fuel points are going to be mostly protected right now by mortar fire if the Germans can bring up some mortars. Lunikov is bringing up his own, and right now Troll Mode hasn't gone for any tech upgrades because I don't know. Oh, that's why the Universal Carrier actually chased his truck in the base and took it out with the flamethrower. So no truck for him, no support gun for him. So he's going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage in the fight for the north if the Allies can get a lot of artillery down to bear, as they're trying to do with that mortar from 5s, and also looks like L has gone for the tier 2, so he's going to be able to bring up his own mortars to assist. We have a support gun in the center though from Kings. Kings is gone for the fortifications doctrine, which on this map can work out. However, the artillery piece is going to be a little bit later in the game, so right now it's not going to make any difference in the course of the game. Unfortunately, later on, unfortunately for the Allies, later on the LEFH artillery will be a very scary piece of equipment to deal with. Right now, it looks like in the center, Troll Mode activated has taken a lot of damage from American pushes, and right now he's definitely floating a little bit too much manpower. He really needs to start spending some of that. Actually, a machine gun, a Vickers, will go down in the center from the push of Kings. Very nice usage of the incendiary grenades to take out this machine gun. Unfortunately, Denik was not really paying attention. Denik has gone for a mortar pit. And, these Storm Pioneers are very much in trouble, taking a lot of damage from these riflemen. Even a grenade went off and missed. Very lucky for the OKW player over here, Kings, that grenade missed, because it could have really dealt a lot of damage to those Storm Pioneers. In fact, Recky Anderson still cutting off the points for his allies. Even in the south, where there aren't really that many points to cut off, he's still doing it, and that's a really nice thing for him to do, because right now he's giving his allies a much needed chance to regain their forces and have a superiority in terms of obviously resources, despite the fact that they're not really that they don't really have the map control. So that is a really nice thing for the allies. And right now we have a machine gun steal from L. In fact, L is going to have machine guns in both of the watchtowers. I'm not sure about the positioning. I would have probably tried to go for a positioning something like over here, because right now in the watchtowers it is really easy for this mortar to actually just find out where they are and shoot them pretty easily. Of course, in the buildings, remember the rules for obviously AoE, area of effect damage, still apply. So if the guys are all clumped up in the building, if you click on your guys in the building, you will see where the models are in the relatively to the building. So if they're all clumped up, they will take more damage because obviously they will all take damage from one shot, instead of taking pretty much no damage if they were like on this building. If a mortar shot were to land like right here, it would only damage this guy and slightly damage this guy as well. But all these guys would be fine. Whereas if a mortar shot were to land over here, it's going to damage everyone. So that's why you don't really want to get in those buildings if it's a if there's a mortar hazard on the enemy team. Now, it looks like the Allies have managed to capture the fuel point, which is obviously great for them. And right now, they are also fortifying the center a little bit, though at this point, Kings is starting to gather up some forces over here and trying to counterattack probably in the center. I feel like it's going to fail because of the mortar pit from Denik. Denik has also gone for a forward assembly, and he's going to be able to upgrade that with the Royal Engineers, because obviously he has chosen the Advanced Emplacement Regiment. He's going to try to make a push over here with his infantry sections with Brenz. Unfortunately, it is a pretty bad decision because there is a machine gun ready to face it, and the machine gun is going to deal a huge amount of damage to his forces. And in fact, he's going to throw down an artillery flare, and the artillery flare is obviously going to be good at breaking up all of this German defense, but it's not going to be probably good enough to wipe anything. So after the artillery strike goes away, it's probably going to be back to normal in the south for John. Really, John needs to be what needs to be doing. He is helping his allies out in the center, perhaps with a mortar attack on this mortar pit, or perhaps with a flanking maneuver with his infantry. If his infantry were to just go over here, he would be able to pretty easily capture some points and destroy some fuel caches, which would be really good for his team. Now, an excellent grenade is going to take out a lot of Storm Pioneers, in fact, leaving only one alive. If these riflemen were to just get in this building, they would have been able to finish off the Storm Pioneer that was retreating. Unfortunately, he won't really be doing that. But still, Recky Anderson dealing a lot of damage. And again, this is just an example of how you can help out your team, even if you're just losing your side. And especially if the side you're losing is the least important of the map, you really don't need to be worrying about your state of the game and you not really helping out your allies, because you can just run around the map, flank the enemy in critical positions such as this one, deal a lot of damage with your forces, and just retreat and go back. And you can still be just as effective as if you were holding monolithically a side like right now John is doing. Right now John has won his side. He has fortified it, and he is holding it for his team, which is good because obviously right now the VP situation is not exactly in favor of the Axis. It's pretty even, and it's pretty even because he has held the southern point for pretty much the entire game. However, Reki Henderson has been more effective because he has been running around the map, dealing a lot of damage all over the map instead of just focusing on one little spot. Now, another supply track will go down from Fives' Captain and Lieutenant. Wait, no, that's not a Lieutenant, that's a Rifleman. So he's going to go for both Captain and Lieutenant. He has got the Heavy Cavalry Company, so I feel like the Heavy Cavalry Company is going to be his choice, though perhaps also the Infantry Company could be his choice because of the Priest. Priest obviously being really good on long-term slugging matches, and also if the OKW decides to hunker down on a very vulnerable position such as this one, where there's a lot, it's likely that there's going to be a lot of infantry clumped up in one area, then the Priest is also pretty good. But in general, I feel like the Heavy Cavalry Company is better, and if Fives doesn't go that, yeah, he went for the Heavy Cavalry Company. Heavy Cavalry Company obviously will give him the pushing later on, so him going for both the Captain and Lieutenant won't be really a detriment. It will be an advantage because he will be able to use a much bigger range of units to support the Pershing instead of what normally would happen, which would be, wait, it can repair. Okay, it can repair itself. I didn't know that. Wow, that's ridiculous. See, it's because I think, like the repair station for the Germans, for the mechanized regiment headquarters of the OKW, where it cannot repair itself, but apparently the advanced emplacement engineers can repair the fort assembly. Okay, that's new. That's very interesting, actually. Ooh, this is probably a pretty bad spot for under mortar pit, probably because of the machine gun, but also probably because if you can get a unit over here right up to this wall where there's these drainage pipes, you can probably pretty easily just chuck a few grenades over the wall and take out the building. There's actually an artillery strike coming down, but I'm not sure as to what that artillery strike is. I don't really see any German abilities being used, and I don't see any German artillery pieces. So I'm not really sure as to what that was. I am pretty confused, actually. Oh well. Yeah, again, what was I talking about? Right, doctrines. Heavy Cavalry Company is going to allow him, Fives, to actually... Oh, he went for Rangers. Oh, I dislike that. He has way too many infantry squads. He cannot get another Ranger, because he's going to bleed out his manpower. He's already got only 211 manpower income from all the squads he's got, and then once he has to reinforce a lot of his units from extended fighting, especially with Troll Mode activated, having Panzer Fusiliers and a Sturm Officer, he's going to take a lot of casualties, and then he's going to take a huge amount of manpower hits in terms of reinforcements. Right now, Reki Anderson is going to take out the support gun once again, and he could come in and destroy it with his bazookas, but he's going to prefer, at least right now, to destroy the SWS supply half-rack. This is a veteran rifleman squad, so he can actually anti-tank rifle grenade it, but he's not going to anti-tank rifle grenade it because he's not paying attention, unfortunately. Only now he will realize it, and it's a little bit too late, perhaps, but he could possibly take out this one Stern Pioneer squad. Yes, he's going to take it out. Pretty decent trade-off, losing the SWS kill for a Stern Pioneer. Obviously, a lot more manpower expended, but the SWS supply half-track would have been like the third supply half-track kill of the Allies this entire game, and that would be pretty devastating because right now the OKW players haven't been able to take up at all. There is one battle group headquarters each, and I feel like that is a little bit weak at 14 minutes. They really needed that Schwer Panther headquarters out and about to get out some later game units, or perhaps even just having all three buildings, which if they hadn't lost all the trucks, they would have been able to get. And right now, they really need to be paying more attention to these grenades. Reki Anderson is just demolishing them with the grenades. In fact, that grenade tech has been much more effective than I usually see it to be, especially from someone who has gone for the rifle company. So, wait, he's just lost a unit. I'm not sure as to where, probably over here in the south, where John has a lot of infantry capturing the strategic point, but that is not a good fight to take with a bazooka rifleman against the STG folks. Definitely gonna have to run away from that one. Very lucky that he doesn't get wiped. And I don't know if we have a pretty huge engagement. We have a half track from L, obviously going for the tier 3 and now tier 4 as well. So he's gonna have the Katyusha available, which would be excellent. 2d2 Scout Car taking a lot of damage, perhaps from the half track, and now it will go down from the bazookas from 5s. Obviously, the half track also taking quite a bit of damage from the 2d2, but also being able to run away with just a sliver because no one was able to get a Panzerfaust off on it, which was just a shame. They should have focused on that as quickly as possible. And Troll Mode is actually going to go for a flak half track, which is definitely a bad mistake because he needs right now to have some later game tough unit to deal with the amount of infantry and soon enough vehicles that the allies will be bringing out. And right now the flak half track is definitely a mistake because it will just be a little bit too vulnerable to everything that the allies can get out. Right now, Denik does have the tier 3 available to him, and he's got a lot of resources, so he could be going for a Cromwell, which would just demolish the flak half track in its tracks. Of course, the Germans right now don't really have the access to a lot of later game units. Lunikov does have a lot of fuel, but he doesn't have any tech structures being built. He's got the Phase 2, Battle Phase 2 available to him. In the south, we do see a easy 8 from Recky Anderson. Finally, Recky Anderson is ready to make a push on the south, but unfortunately, the pack will be there to stop him, along with the Panzer Grenadiers, upgraded with Panzerschrecks, and in fact, we will see a something being called down. I'm not sure. Nice positioning of the machine guns actually being repositioned in the middle of the fight to suppress the blob of Recky Anderson. In fact, the artillery strike, which is a major RD? Yeah, that was a major RD from Recky Anderson. That actually did a fair amount of damage for a major RD. Obviously, it was buffed in one of the last few patches, so pretty good attack over there. And we still see a Royal Infantry section from Denik. He's going to be able to deal quite a bit of damage, especially taking out this mortar and taking out the veterancy on it. But as soon as John notices, he's going to be able to get this machine gun set up to just deal with it. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do much with this infantry section push. We will see a Churchill out from Denik. Obviously, Denik's trying to go for the Anvil, probably because of the airburst shells being very effective against buildings and very effective against infantry swarms. So trying to get a lot of value out of his artillery at the base. In fact, we see in the north we have a Sherman from 5s and a T-3485 from L, who has gone for the guard motor coordination. Guard motor coordination, obviously excellent for the T-3485s. T-3485 is really good in open maps like this one, where they can use their mobility to flank, and they're a pretty decent gun to take out the German tanks from the rear. 5s should really consider, okay, so he has switched to AP, rather HE rounds. There is a sure Panzer quarters, and right now this assault, frontal assault, is a really bad idea for the Allied tanks. Allied tanks obviously being much more effective at flanking maneuvers instead of frontal attacks. Right now the Sherman's to pop smoke over here and run away as quickly as possible. Doesn't want to get attacked by this Raketenwerfer. In fact, very lucky to escape with that sliver of health because the Stern Pioneers weren't close enough to respond in time and deal the finishing blow. Nice grenade. RGD-34 going to take out a few models from these Germans. In fact, the Germans taking a lot of casualties in this defense, but still managing to hold the position is really good for them because right now they will be able to counterattack in the north. Hopefully for them, they really need to recapture the northern fuel if they want to have a chance in this game. In the south, we see that Recky Anderson, along with the Churchill from Denik, are just going to smash through John's defenses. And in fact, John will be trying to counterattack with some Panzer Grenadiers, but he will forget about them. They weren't on an attack move, and the artillery strike from, I guess, the Major again? Yeah, that was a major RD again. We'll finish off the infantry. And the Churchill, along with the American riflemen, will be able to secure the south. And right now, there is a 4-to-1 cap ratio for the Allies, which is obviously just as good as a triple cap on a normal game. So, yeah, the Germans are going to lose VPs very quickly at the rate of 1 a second. And that's not good for them because they really need some kind of reprieve right now. They have 348 VPs at their disposal, and if the rate at which they're losing VPs continues, they will lose the game in 6 minutes, which is not enough for them to get out any late game units to actually help out, because right now their real deficiency is the fact that they don't really have any they don't really have any tech. Only John has a decent tech level. He's got a Panzer IV coming out on the field, but that's not going to be enough to deal with the Churchill, rather the normal Churchill, because the Churchill has a huge amount of armor, and in fact, over here, I think that was Kings with the Schwer Panzer quarters. He's going to lose his Schwer Panzer quarters. That is incredibly bad. In fact, he's going to drop out of the game because of the Rage Quit, and that is just really bad. Right now, there is an Austin on the field from Lunikov, and just tier 3 units from the Wehrmacht are not going to be enough to respond to the tier 4 and also the doctrinal units that the Allies are getting out right now. The T-3485s, the obviously EZ-8 from Recce Anderson, who has a huge amount of infantry, and soon enough the Pershing from 5s are just going to be a little bit too much for the Axis. And right now there's a huge concentration of Germans being pretty much showered by artillery shells, and that's a really bad thing for them, because right now, yeah, they're just trying to defend this battle group headquarters, but they just can't because they're being completely demolished by the artillery attacks of the Allies. And this is a really good thing that you want to be doing when you're attacking as the Allies. In fact, as the Germans as well, but it's more important to do so as the Allies. You want to pin the enemy onto onto their defensive positions because they obviously want to defend them. But then when they are there and they're committed to the defense, you want to shower them with artillery as much as possible so that it's like you either defend your really valuable tech structure or you die, which is what the Axis have chosen right now, death. And so they have chosen death, and all their units have been wiped out completely except this one Volksgrenadier who's going to run away with just a sliver of health, being kind of lucky, and this Panzergrenadier who's probably going to die right now to the huge amount of Allied tanks. The pack over here is not being really focused as much by the Allies. They should have either used the smoke screen from the Shermans or just target the Sherman on them with the HE rounds to take it out. Right now, the only thing that's targeting that pack is the Churchill, but the Churchill at this kind of maximum range has a really shitty accuracy on its main gun, so he wasn't able to take out the pack before dealing a lot of damage to this T-3485s. So I guess that was a bit of a mistake, and the Axis will surrender, as right now they didn't really have any choice. In fact, I feel like the main mistake of the Axis was just getting all their tech structures shut up and failing to recapture this northern point once they lost it. There were a lot of damage charges from L, which was definitely a good play, but if they had just kept a few mortar shots landing on these watchtowers from over here, and then followed up with some infantry, perhaps just having the Pioneers recon the area, and then bringing in the Grenadiers once a line of attack has been established, perhaps even just using a light vehicle, such as a mortar half-track, in fact, to tear down these walls to provide an alternate flanking path on these machine guns. That would have been really good as well. Or perhaps just waiting for a Panzer IV or something to break down the wall. Anyway, yeah, it just would have been much better. Also, the Germans didn't really use their doctrines at all, whereas the Allies had massive use of their doctrines, which was obviously really good for them. Only Trommel activated really used his doctrinal units at all. And even then, he used them sparingly, and he had pretty much a lot of manpower that he could have spent, and he didn't. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the cast, and I'll see you soon.